welcome to my channel. I am Maricita Colors in English. Hola, bienvenidos a mi canal. Soy Maricita Colors en inglés. Today I will make a knitting pattern. I will make a beautiful scarf, a collar scarf bufanda en español. I make with buttons. I make with the rib stitch. The rib stitch are 2 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches. Always we must alternate, and in the 2 borders I must have the knit stitches for that my border is uniform. So by example, depends of the yarn and the hooks or needles that you use. So always you must finish your row with the 2 knit stitches. By example, here I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and here I have 18 stitches. And if I want make more wide my scarf, I must make always plus 4 stitches. My scarf has 38 stitches. I didn't finish because I will show you at the end how I close my scarf. For the pattern, I will use this yarn and the needle number 6 and 30. I will make my pattern with 18 stitches. I will show you how I calculate for make the 18 stitches. Here the yarn over the needle and I make only until the 18 stitches. Here I let some centimeters and I let the yarn free from the needle, and from here I will make the 18 stitches. This is the way that I make for make my stitches in the needle. I will make in a slowly calm for that you can see how I make these stitches over the needle. The needle in the center, I catch the yarn with the 2 fingers, and from the left to the right, and in the center I bring the yarn to the needle, always with the 2 fingers from the left to the right into the center. Here I have 17 and 18 stitches. So here in the first row, in the first stitch, I will make the knit stitches. The knit stitch is from the left to the right. I catch the yarn from, or the loop from the left to the right. I make the yarn over the needle, and this is the first knit stitches. So this is the second knit stitches. And now I make the yarn to the front for make the purl stitches. Here I have in the front the yarn, and I make from the right to the left the loop, from the right to the left, and I pass the yarn, and the yarn blind or stay in the needle, and I make the second purl stitches. I must make the same and alternate 2 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches. Knit punto derecho and purl punto revés en español. Stitch punto. So we only must make these 2 stitches and alternate in all these rows. 2 purl stitch and 2 knit or knit stitch. Okay, now almost I finished the first row of my scarf. Here I make the last or the second purl stitch, and for make the 2 knit stitch I make the yarn in the back, punto derecho en español. This is the 2 knit stitches that must be in the borders of our scarf. We turn the knitting pattern, and now I must make the stitches like we find. Always are the opposite in the reverse. Here I find the two purl stitches. Here, from the second row, the first stitch, always I pass to the another needle, like this. I don't make the purl stitch, I only pass. And here I make the second purl stitch. This is for that our border is uniform. Here I find the knit stitch, punto derecho en español. And we repeat the two knit stitches and the two purl stitches. I will show you how I finish this row. You must continue only making the stitches. Now almost I finish this row. Here I find the two knit stitches, and at the end I have the two purl stitches. This is the reverse of my work. Here I push a little my yarn. Look, this is the reverse of my threads, and in the reverse, in the borders, we have the two purl stitches. We turn the knitting work, and this is the front of my work. Where is the yarn of the beginning in the right, this is the front of our work. They are like canots in the first row. Here I will begin this third row. I will pass again the first stitch. I will pass in the needle of the right without make the canit, only we pass, but we catch the stitch like the canit stitches from the left to the right. And I make the second canit and the two purl stitches. We repeat all the stitches. For make the canit or the knit stitches, we make the yarn in the back, and for make the purl stitches, I make the yarn in the front. I finish here the third row. Here I find the two knit stitches, and I push a little all with the yarn. With this pattern, you can calculate how many stitches you need for make the wide of your scarf. Here I have 2 times my pattern with this yarn and with these needles, so I must make 38 stitches, the same stitches that has my scarf. So always you must to try to compare with a little pattern. Here I begin in the reverse. I pass the first purl stitch and I make the second purl stitch, yarn in the back, and we make the knit stitches. I am in the reverse of my work because the yarn of the beginning is in the left side and the two borders are the purl stitches. So I continue. Now almost I finish this row. Here I make the last purl stitch. Always I push for that my border is uniform. And here only you must make the long that you prefer. Here I will make in my scarf. I am in the front of the work. I use the needles number 5 and I begin the two knit stitches. I will show you here in my scarf. I pass the first stitch always and make the two knit stitches and the two purl stitches. My scarf has approximately the 70 centimeters of long, and after this I will show you how to make the buttonholes. This scarf has 3 buttonholes. Now I will show you how to make the buttonholes. The buttonholes I will begin in the front of my work where the yarn of the beginning is in the right part. So I will make 3 buttonholes and I must calculate how many stitches I must close. So I will close 2 stitches for every button. So is 6 stitches less 38 stitches is 32 stitches. These 32 stitches less the borders, 2 in every border, so is 32 less the 4 is 28 stitches, and these 28 I must make the half in between every button. So it will be 14 stitches between every button, for that is uniform. So here I will show you how we make the buttonholes, ojales en español. You must make in the front of the work. Here I will make the 2 knit stitches, and here I will begin the first buttonhole. I must close 2 stitches. How we close 1 stitch? I must make like knit stitches. 1 knit stitch and the next 1 knit stitch. Look. And the second, look, the second stitch pass over the first and stay in the needle. Here we close 1 stitch. So again 1 knit stitch and we pass the second over the first. And now we made the first buttonhole. We close 2 stitches. In the next row I must make increases for replace these stitches. Now I will make 14 stitches and I must continue with the pattern. So where I find the 2 purl stitches, I must make the purl stitch and the knit stitches. Now I will count if I have the 14 stitches. After that we make the close the 2 stitches, I must count the 14. Here I have the 14 and here I will make the next buttonhole. I must make the same that I make in the first buttonhole. Here I must have the 14 stitches too and the 2 that we close and the 2 of the border. So it's perfect. So now I close again 2 stitches. Here the first, the second stitch pass over the first, we close 1 stitch and we close the second stitch. The second over the first and the first stay in the needle. And this is the second buttonhole. Here I must continue with the 14 stitches. Always we must continue with the pattern, the 2 knit and the 2 purl stitches. Puntos derechos en español y puntos revés. Revés, purl stitches. I invite you to subscribe here in my channel. Maricita Colors in English is total free and you can find me in Instagram, Twitter and Pinterest and Facebook. And here almost I must have the 14 stitches. 6, 8, 10, 12, 12, 13, 13 and 14, 14. And here is the 2 from the border and the 2 stitches that we must close. Again we repeat 1 and 2 knit stitches and the second, look, the second over the first and again 1 knit stitches and the second over the first. So this is the third buttonhole, el tercer ojal. And the last stitch is the knit stitch. And ready. We make the buttonholes. We turn the knitting work and here I must make increases because we close the stitches and we must have the same stitches that I have in the beginning. Now I make the first stitch I pass and in this second stitch I will make the increases. I must make this stitch, the second, and plus the 2 stitches. So from this stitch I must have 3 stitches. the yarn in the back because I will use the knit stitches for make the increases, aumentos en español. From left to right, we catch the stitch and we have the first stitch, and I don't make out the stitch from the left needle, and I turn the stitch and I insert again, I pass the yarn and I have the second, and after this I make again from left to right and I pass again the yarn. So from left, I repeat from left to right and I pass the yarn and I make the third stitch. So I have the increases. I have from this stitch, I have 3 stitches. And we must make the same in the another buttonholes. And here I only must continue with the pattern. I must make the 2 purl stitches. For make the purl stitch, I make the yarn in the front, yarn in the back for make again the knit stitches. And look, the bottom is perfect for this big button. You don't must make so big the spaces because the threads are stretched. And I continue until that I find another buttonhole. Now I find the another buttonhole, and this in this stitch previous the decreases that we made in the previous row, I must make again 2 stitches plus this stitch, so I must have 3 stitches with this stitch. Again we make the needle from left to right because we make the knit stitch. We bring the yarn and we insert again into the stitch. This is the second, and try to let a little yarn, and again the third, and ready. And we continue again with the another stitches. Here I find the 2 purl stitches. So we continue with the pattern until that we find another buttonhole. You can repeat again how I make the increases. Now here in this stitch I must make again the increases. So the yarn I must make in the back, for that is the knit stitches or knit stitch. One, this is the first, we turn the stitch and we insert the needle again. Look how I make the second stitch and the third or the last from left to right, and ready. And we continue here with the 2 purl stitches because we are in the reverse of our scarf. And we turn the knitting work, and now we have ready our buttonholes. Now I am in the front of the scarf and I begin the row with the 2 knit stitches, and here I find the new stitches and I continue only with the pattern, the 2 knit and the 2 purl stitches. We must have the same number of the stitches that we have in the beginning of our scarf. So I will continue to make this row. Here almost I finish this row. Here I make the 2 knit stitches and here I find and make the 2 purl stitches and the last 2 knit stitches for the border. And now I will make this row for the reverse, and I will back for show you how I close this scarf. Now I am in the front of my scarf. Here are the buttonholes, the 3 buttonholes, and we will close our thread. How we close? The first stitch always we pass, and the second I will make with the knit stitches or the knit stitch. And for close, I will repeat like I make in the buttonhole, the second pass over the first. The second, we make the knit stitch again. We let a little loose our yarn and the second over the first. And we must repeat all of this until the end of this row. Here almost I finished the row of our scarf. I have here 38 stitches. I use only the knit stitch for close our scarf. Here almost I finish and the second over the first, and here I find the last stitch and the second over the first, and we finish. Now I will cut the yarn and I will pass the yarn inside of the last stitch. Cut the yarn and the yarn into the last stitch. We open a little this last loop or stitch and we insert the yarn and we push a little the last stitch. Now I will sew the buttons. This is the front of my work. Here are the buttonholes, look. And in the front of our scarf, we must sew our buttons. So I will use the big needle and always we must try to see where are the buttonholes. Here I have my big needle, aguja punta roma, and always I must try to prove if our needle enter in the button. Here first I sew the yarn in the reverse of my scarf before I sew the bottom. Botón en español. This is the front of my scarf. Look. Here is the yarn of the beginning of our scarf. So I pass the needle to the front and the bottom must be inside of our scarf. And I start to sew my bottom in my scarf. Scarf, bufanda en español. It's better that you use big buttons because are more nice. And here I pass the yarn in the reverse, and from the reverse I pass again into the back of the button and I turn the yarn into the button and I pass again to the reverse. And here I try to sew my yarn into the back of my scarf. You don't must to make so strong the yarn And you can use this yarn, the same yarn, for sew the second button. Here I make for notice where is the another button. I try always to compare where is the buttonhole, and in front I must sew the second button. And I can do it with the same yarn, or you can do it with another yarn too. And we have ready our beautiful scarf with buttons. This size is for teenagers and for us, the adults. Don't forget to subscribe here in my channel. Maricita Colors in English is total free, and you can find me in Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Muchas gracias y hasta la próxima. Chao, chao.